Hello students, hope you are doing well at your home in your online studies. So today we are going to discuss the most important topic of this chapter, that is Gauss theorem. So the Gauss theorem gives us the value of total flux across any surface, and that flux is denoted by phi E, and this phi E will be equal to surface integral of electric field into ds, and this is equal to 1 upon epsilon naught times of total charge across the surface, summation over I equal to 1 to n q I, that is the total charge across the surface, summation over I equal to 1 to n qi, that means q1 plus q2 plus q3 and so on up to qn. If the surface is consist of n number of charges, then the total charge across the surface is denoted by this quantity. So total charge across the surface divided by epsilon naught, this will gives us the value of phi. So the statement of Gauss theorem can be written as the surface integral of the electric field intensity of the electric field intensity, this quantity E, over any closed hypothetical surface and that hypothetical surface is also known as Gaussian surface or Gauss surface. So this is nothing but Gaussian surface. In free space, each equal to 1 upon epsilon naught times of the net charge enclosed. Net charge enclosed within the surface. So this is the statement of Gauss theorem, and according to Gauss theorem, the total flux will be equal to the divided by total charge by or net charge by epsilon naught. So now we will move to the proof of this theorem. How to prove this theorem? So first we will prove this theorem for spherically symmetric surface. For a spherically symmetric surface, and later we will prove this theorem for asymmetric surface or any kind of random type surfaces. So first we will prove it for spherically symmetric surface. So let us consider a spherically symmetric surface. This is a 3D shape of a sphere, and suppose on this 3D shape we assumed a small area ds, at a distance of vector r. Suppose at the center we have placed our test charge plus q. This area is ds. this area that we have taken is ds. Since this charge is positive, so the electric field will be away from it. So now we have to calculate the total flux across this whole surface. So we will first calculate the flux across this surface, small surface ds. Suppose the flux across ds is denoted by d phi. So first we will evaluate d phi, then we will integrate this d phi for overall surface, then we will get the total value of phi or electric flux. So here d phi or flux across ds is given by eds. Put down the value of electric field. This will be nothing but 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square into unit vector r into ds and into unit vector n. This unit vector is across r and this n vector is across ds. So d phi equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. We are just rewriting it as q ds by r square together r into n. Here the multiplication of vector unit vector r and n will be equal to their magnitude into angle between them, cos of the angle between them. So cos 0 and the value of cos 0 will be 1. So this quantity will turn to 1. Now put down this value equal to 1 in the above equation. We will get d phi equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q ds by r square. Now if we integrate this quantity for the whole surface, or we will find out the surface integral of d phi, and that will give us the value of total flux across this surface. So therefore total flux phi e is equal to surface integral of d phi. That will be equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught is constant. Take it out from the integration. Q and r square, these terms are also constant, so q upon r square. The only remaining term for integration will be ds, so surface integral of ds. So this will give 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square, and this ds is nothing but the surface area of this sphere, and surface area of this sphere will be 4 pi r square. 4 pi r square. So 4 pi will be cancelled out, r square will be cancelled out. Only the remaining term will be q upon epsilon naught. What is this q? This is net charge divided by epsilon naught. And it was, we have to prove, the total flux was equal to net charge upon epsilon naught according to the statement of Gauss theorem. So we have proved Gauss theorem for spherically symmetric surface. Now in the next case we will see the proof of Gauss theorem of any shape Here in the next case we have taken any shape which is not symmetric, maybe symmetric or asymmetric, that doesn't matter. So this is any kind of shape, and here we have taken ds surface, and we will calculate first the phi or flux across it. Suppose across ds the flux is d phi, so first we will calculate d phi, then we will integrate this d phi for the overall surface, and we will get the value of flux across total surface. So d phi equal to E ds, going in the similar way, this will be equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square into unit vector r into ds into unit vector n. So let us rearrange. D phi equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q ds by r square r into n. Here the angle between r and n is not exactly 0 degree. So here we will take an angle theta between r and n. Here we will take an angle theta. So here r into n equal to 1 into cos theta. Here theta is not 0 degree. So this will be equal to cos theta. This may be 0 degree or not 0 degree. That we have not known what is the value of theta. So we are usually taking an angle theta. So that will be cos theta. So let us put down this value of r into n, unit vector r into unit vector n in this equation. Therefore we will get d phi equal to this will be written as q upon 4 pi epsilon naught. This is q ds by r square into cos theta. Now let us integrate this d phi for the whole surface, so that we can get the total flux. The total flux, that flux is given by phi e equal to surface integral of d phi, and this will be equal to q upon 4 pi epsilon naught h constant. So take it out, q upon 4 pi epsilon naught h constant, and rest of the quantity we have already defined it as d omega, and this value of d omega for the overall surface is 4 pi. So this will be equal to q upon 4 pi epsilon naught into 4 pi. 4 pi and 4 pi will be get cancelled, and the result will be q upon epsilon naught. And that we have to prove as per the statement of Gauss theorem. So this is the proof. So hence Gauss theorem proved. Gauss theorem proved. So now we deduct the Coulomb's law from Gauss theorem. So according to Gauss theorem, the total flux phi E was given by E into surface integration of ds, and that was equal to q upon epsilon naught. The surface integral of total surface will be given by 4 pi r square in case of sphere or symmetric surface, and therefore E into 4 pi r square equal to q upon epsilon naught. or we may write it as E equal to, bring the 4 pi r square over here, so this will be q upon 4 pi epsilon naught r square. So if a charge q0, suppose we are placing another charge q0, is placed at a point where E is calculated. If we place a test charge q naught over a point where this E is calculated, then according to definition, force between q and q naught will be given by F equal to q naught upon 4 pi epsilon naught r square. So this is the deduction of Coulomb's law from Gauss theorem. We have started from Gauss theorem and reached to Coulomb's law, the value of force. So which is Coulomb's law. So the Coulomb's law can also be verified from Gauss theorem. In the next class we will discuss about some applications of Gauss theorem, few numerical problems based on this chapter, and I think almost this chapter is over after that topic. Thank you.